I have been in tears for the last 2 years trying to meet my daughter, and she has never let me once talk to her or see her. Fake Facebook account just to see pictures of Elena.
I'm afraid that if he does get to see my daughter, that he can run off with her, and there's nothing I can do to get her back.
Here we go, folks. Another wild ride on paternity court. Today's case is a real doozy with a mom who's been lying through her teeth for the past 30 years. Mr. Haggerty has been raising a daughter he thought was his own for nearly 3 decades. But now, his baby mama, Ms. Davis, is dropping a bombshell. He's not the dad.
Mr. Haggerty, you've opened your case in hopes of saving your relationship with your daughter. She has distanced herself from you, and you claim it's because her mother recently lied and claimed you are not her father. You plan to prove today what you've known for the last 30 years. You are her daddy. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Haggerty is pleading his case, saying he's been the best dad he could be to Wanda. And Wanda's backing him up, saying he's been the only father she's ever known. But Ms. Davis is throwing a curveball, claiming Mr. Haggerty was just a playmate and that the real dad is some other guy. Ouch! That's gotta sting!
Why do you say Ms. Davis is a liar?
She lied to me, she lied to my daughter. When she first got pregnant, she said I was the dad. And after 29 years, I come to find out now that possibly I'm not the father.
You've raised this beautiful young woman and you've thought of her as your daughter and nothing else.
For the whole 29 years, yes, Your Honor.
But wait, there's more. Ms. Davis's own sister, Carolyn, steps up to the plate, saying that back in the day, Ms. Davis told the whole family that Mr. Haggerty was the dad. So now we've got a classic case of he said, she said, and it's anyone's guess who's telling the truth.
Yes, and she just thinks it's fun and cute, and it's not. What's cute about not knowing who your father is or lying to your daughter that you say that you're supposed to love? If you loved me, you wouldn't play games with me from jump, or this man.
So you grew up believing Mr. Haggerty was your biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wanda's emotions are running high, and you can see the pain in her eyes. She's been lied to her whole life, and now she's left wondering who her real dad is. It's heartbreaking to watch, folks. And Mr. Haggerty is just as devastated, realizing that the little girl he's loved and raised may not be his after all.
My sister called me. She said me and Craig just got through doing, and she said I'm pregnant. And she told me and our family that Craig was Marzella's father.
Mr. Haggerty?
Mr. Haggerty.
She said it?
She said it.
She didn't name anybody else?
She didn't name no one else but Craig Haggerty.
But the plot thickens even more when Wanda reveals that there's another man who's been claiming to be her dad. Apparently, this guy showed up out of the blue, crying and saying he's her father. Wanda's even been spending time with him, and he's been checking in on the kids.
Why are you crying? Like, who are you? I don't know you. Why are you crying? Why are you looking at me just crying? And he was like, you don't know who I am? He was like, I'm your father. I'm like,
how old were you?
I was 19 years old, Your Honor. And I was like, yes, Your Honor. Yes. He was calling me, he was checking on the kids, and when he showed me this picture of his mom.
Now, Ms. Davis is finally fessing up to her lies, admitting that she told Mr. Haggerty he was the dad, even though she knew the truth all along. And get this, she says she did it because she really wanted a baby with Mr. Haggerty, but had 4 miscarriages. Wow, talk about desperate measures.
The thing about it back then, I had a boyfriend and he had a girlfriend.
So now, was your boyfriend the gentleman that came to Miss Wanda, your daughter, crying?
Yes.
So
yes.
it's that man?
Yes. And Marzella was already conceived in my belly when I was playing with Mr. Haggerty.
The judge is trying to make sense of it all, and you can see the frustration on her face. She's got a daughter who's been lied to her whole life, a dad who's been robbed of his fatherhood, and a mom who's clearly got some serious issues. This is a mess of epic proportions, folks.
You've testified in court today that you were proud to be Miss Wanda's father.
Yes.
It's something you cherished, a relationship you valued.
Yes.
She said you were a wonderful father to her.
Right.
So the truth is, your commitment to this young woman was truly about love and about the belief that you were her father, even though you had no legal claim.
Yes.
And just when you think it can't get any crazier, the judge drops a bombshell. The birth certificate lists the other guy as the father, not Mr. Haggerty. So it seems Ms. Davis has been playing a twisted game of paternity keep away for decades. Unbelievable.
money. When this other man accumulated all this money, that's when she would say, that's who really your dad is. You need to get some money from him. So it was all about the money, because that's when she told me.
So when was this?
This was back in 2016, Your Honor. Other than that, she hasn't said anything about this other man being my dad.
As the episode comes to a close, we're left with more questions than answers. Who's the real dad? What's Ms. Davis's deal? And how will this all play out for Wanda and Mr. Haggerty? One thing's for sure, the DNA test results are in, and everyone is about to get some clarity.
Mr. Haggerty, you are not the father. Miss Wanda, are you okay, honey?
Something that could have been settled 29 years ago.
It's okay, I'm always gonna be there for you.
Well, 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 if it isn't another juicy case from the one and only paternity court, today we're diving into the twisted tale of a mother who just couldn't seem to keep her story straight. Get ready for some serious drama, folks, because this one's a doozy.
Ms. Bowman, you've dragged your daughter, Kina, to court to save your relationship. You admit after years of deception and confusion, you now must prove to her that her actual biological father is Mr. James Stewart, who passed away 18 years ago. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's set the scene. Miss Bowman had been lying to her daughter, Kina, for years about who her real father was. Can you imagine? Telling your kid one guy is their dad, then flipping the script and saying it's actually someone else. It's a messed up situation.
I've told her that another, Mr. Watson was her father.
Explain.
It all started when she was little. When I first met Mr. Stewart, met him at a company that I worked with, and we started working, became friends and everything, real close. We became sexual. It got to where I found out there was somebody else.
Now, the plot thickens when Kina's supposed dad, Mr. Watson, decides to get involved. He shows up at Miss Bowman's house and demands a paternity test because he's not convinced Kina is actually his kid. Ooh, the drama! But get this, when the results come back, it turns out Mr. Watson isn't the father after all. Shocker, I know. Miss Bowman then drops another bombshell, saying the real dad is actually a guy named James Stewart, who's been dead for 18 years. Yikes, this lady's got some serious skeletons in her closet.
So when did you find out that he was not?
I found out during this summer, going into high school, that he was not my father. Wow. I was forced to be taken out of my mother's house and go to his house where I had no contact with my mother.
Now, Kina is understandably upset. Her whole life has been turned upside down, and she's not sure who to trust anymore. I mean, can you blame her? Her own mom has been feeding her lies for years. But hey, at least she's got Mr. Stewart's son, James, in her corner.
So, Miss Bowman, take me back to that day. Your daughter was crushed. I mean, she says it just broke her.
At the time, Kina had just came over to my house. She had just moved in with me, and I happened to go to work one day, and Mr. Watson had recently got married, and his wife, she told him, that's your child, you go get him.
And let's not forget about Miss Watson, Kina's supposed grandma. She's got her own story to tell, and it's a doozy. Apparently, Miss Bowman had the audacity to forge a fake paternity test result and stick it in Miss Watson's mailbox, trying to convince her that Mr. Watson wasn't the dad. Wow, this lady will stop at nothing to get her way, huh? Talk about a desperate move.
Since you want to sit up here and say this ain't my daughter, prove it. I turned around and I went downtown and I requested a paternity test. The results came back, and I sat there and I told her, I said, you know, I didn't do this to hurt you.
And so is it your assertion that you knew all of the time there was a question, or you knew for certain Mr. Watson wasn't?
I didn't know.
But the real kicker is when Miss Bowman finally fesses up in court. She admits that she fabricated that whole letter, all because she was in love with Mr. Watson and wanted him to think Kina was his kid. Unbelievable. I mean, using your own child as a pawn to keep a man? This mom clearly has some serious issues to work through.
Put a letter in my mailbox with a piece of paper saying that James Stewart was not her father.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me see that evidence.
I got a long letter about how my son, Kina, her feet, his heels, and her blood.
You're saying that Miss Bowman put a letter in your mailbox?
Yes, ma'am. And Kate was born in January. She gave me the letter in February.
And just when you think it couldn't get any crazier, the court drops an absolute bombshell.
In the case of Bowman versus Bowman, it has been determined by this court that James Stewart and Kina Bowman are related.
Mr. Matherson claims that his baby mama, Miss Robinson, is a compulsive liar. Apparently, she's been dodging a paternity test for the last 3 years, and he's finally had enough. He's convinced that her 3-year-old son, Jaden, isn't even his kid. Ooh. Let's see where this goes.
Mr. Matherson, you and your mother have demanded the defendant, Ms. Robinson, appear in court today because you claim you are not the father of her 3-year-old son, Jaden, and say she's been ducking a paternity test for years. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Robinson, you and your mother say Mr. Matherson is known and he needs to grow up and stop running from his responsibilities. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But wait, it gets better. Miss Robinson is firing back, saying that Mr. Matherson is the one who's been MIA. She claims he's been trying to take Jaden back to Ohio without her permission. Yikes, these two are really going at it, huh? And get this, there's even another guy, Mr. Collins, who Miss Robinson is apparently dating now. Mr. Matherson seems to think he might be the real father.
So, Ms. Robinson, are you keeping Jaden away from Ms. Brooks and Mr. Matherson?
Right now, Your Honor, I am.
Why?
Because Tawana's not responsible. I also sent the threat that my son, when he got my son, he was going to take him back to Ohio. So, yes, Your Honor, I did not.
Yes, I was going to take him to Ohio to see my family if he was mine.
Now, the judge is trying to get to the bottom of all this, but these two just won't stop bickering. It's like they're speaking different languages or something. One minute, they're accusing each other of being money hungry, and the next, they're arguing about who's the real father. I'm getting whiplash just trying to keep up.
Mr. Matherson, what are you saying?
I wanted my son to be a junior. My name is no part of his name, period. That's for one.
Oh, so do you feel because they never considered giving Jaden your name that was somehow an indication that he may not be yours?
Your Honor, I didn't feel like I should have to give him his last name because at the same time, we was not married.
And can we talk about the way they're talking about this poor kid, Jaden? I mean, they're throwing around words like promiscuous and vindictive, and it's just heartbreaking. This little boy is caught in the middle of all this drama, and he's probably so confused. It's enough to make you want to reach through the screen and give him a big ol' hug.
I'm 100% sure I'm not his father because I wasn't even talking to Alexis on that level at that time.
Are you all in a relationship or are you friends?
Don't say nothing.
And we've been friends for 5 years. Okay. Since they've been knowing each other,
So you've been friends for 5 years?
Correct.
Okay, so now.
We're in a relationship right now.
Now you're in a relationship. How long have you all been in this relationship?
About 3 months.
But the real kicker is when the judge finally gets the paternity test results. Turns out, Mr. Matherson is the daddy after all. You'd think that would be a happy moment, right? Nope, these two are still at each other's throats. Mr. Matherson is all excited, but Miss Robinson is like, you're not on the birth certificate, so good luck with that.
Mr. Matherson, you are the father. That's your little boy.
Now, can we see him?
Your Honor.
Now, can we see him?
May I have that paper?
Now, honey,
I have partial custody?
This was about to have that. That's what's going on.
May I have custody?
Partial,
Hold on.
Full?
Partial.
Hold on.
Ashley Salvo is a young mom who claims she only slept with one guy around the time she got pregnant, a Mr. Gonzalez. But he's not buying it and thinks she was sleeping around with multiple men, including his best friend.
Ms. Salvo, you claim that around the time you conceived your 1-year-old daughter, Amaiya, you carried on a sexual relationship with the defendant, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Today you say you desperately want to prove Mr. Gonzalez is her biological father because it will break your heart if she has to grow up without a dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's break this down. Ashley says she only hooked up with Gonzalez one time, and that's how she got pregnant with little Amaiya. But Gonzalez is telling a different story. He says they were sleeping together for months, and he even caught Ashley's mom seeing him naked in the kitchen one time. Awkward!
He knows Amaiya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time. I was drunk, he came over, he got me at the right time.
Okay, so you had sex with him just one time?
Yes.
And get this, Gonzalez also claims Ashley's best friend had naked pics of her on his phone. He thinks this friend could be the real dad, but Ashley is straight up denying all of this. She says she's only been with 2 guys during that time, Gonzalez and her ex-boyfriend. Someone's not telling the whole truth here.
She knew I had a fiance at the time, so I used to tell my fiance I'm gonna go to the hair salon or something to go get my braids done, but really, I used to go to Ashley's house to go get my hair done and get a little treat.
And now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor. The whole part 6 times, that's ridiculous.
Now, the ex-boyfriend is a whole other story. Ashley says she thought Amaiya might be his at first, but then she looked at the baby and was like, "Nopey, not a chance." Apparently, Amaiya just looks way too Hispanic to be her ex's kid.
Were you using protection with your boyfriend?
Periodically, but not as
Not
much.
consistently.
Yeah.
And so, is there any reason why your boyfriend's not in court today as one of the potential fathers?
The reason we stopped with contact because, I mean, he did help me financially when I was pregnant because at first I thought that she was his.
But the real kicker is when Gonzalez claims he saw some random Hispanic guy giving him the stink eye, and he thinks this guy wanted to be the baby daddy. Ashley shuts that down real quick, saying the guy's just been her friend since elementary school. Uh-oh, looks like someone's got some explaining to do.
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does. The shape of his eyebrows, that's him. Her nose, I have a picture that I can show you that they're twins.
What is that you're holding, ma'am?
It's a picture of my daughter with her one dimple.
Jerome, will you please pass that evidence to me?
And let's not forget about Ashley's current fiance, Felicia. She's been stepping up big time, buying diapers, wipes, and even a crib for little Amaiya. Gonzalez says he's been helping out too, but Ashley's calling his bluff. She says all he's done is buy a couple of toothbrushes and some toothpaste.
I mean, if I had a picture of my current ex-boyfriend's kids.
Well, you know the only way to truly exclude a potential father in a paternity situation is a DNA test.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you test your ex at all?
I did test him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, and what happened?
He's not the father.
But you know what they say, the truth always comes out in the end. And when the DNA results are finally revealed, well...
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Can I still come around and see Amaiya and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter and she's still gonna be my daughter.
We've got a love triangle gone wrong, with a baby caught in the middle. Mr. Webb thinks he might be the father of little Elena, and Miss Forrest, Elena's mom, is desperately trying to keep him away. Looks like this is gonna be one messy situation. Let's dive in and see how this plays out.
You claim the defendant, Mrs. Forrest, left you for dead only to find out once you got out of a coma that she was pregnant and that the baby could be yours or her husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Forrest, you and your husband are here today desperate to put an end to this drama. You say you have no doubt your daughter's biological father is indeed your husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Webb has been waiting 2 whole years to get this paternity test done. He's convinced that Miss Forrest left him for dead and then got pregnant with his kid. But Miss Forrest is adamant that her husband, Mr. Forrest, is the father.
Yes, we was in love, but towards the end, I was on life support.
No, that's not how it happened.
As soon as I got out the hospital, I had got a phone call saying that she was pregnant. I heard it from my aunt first, but on my way to Illinois with my dad.
Now, Miss Forrest admits that she and Mr. Webb did have a fling, but she swears up and down that her husband is the dad. Mr. Webb, on the other hand, thinks Miss Forrest was cheating on him with other guys too. He's got some wild theories about her coming home late from work and money going missing from her paychecks.
She would get off at 10 o'clock. It would take at least 15 minutes to get home, but she would come in at 11 to 11:30.
It took about 45 minutes to get from where I was working.
So it was missing time and missing money.
Yes,
Where
Your Honor.
she was MIA.
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
All right.
from where she worked at, and I know for a fact it took 45 minutes to get from her work
No,
to
Your Honor.
the house.
Uh-oh. It looks like Mr. Webb has some evidence up his sleeve. A letter from his mom saying he was on life support when Miss Forrest came to get his stuff. But Miss Forrest is sticking to her story, saying they broke up a few days before he ended up in the hospital.
They broke up like 3 days, from my knowledge, to like 3 days before he ever went into a coma.
No, Your Honor, I did not have
We were
any
fighting,
idea that we were
over,
split
and
up.
that was
Having problems.
I had called my dad for a bus ticket to Alabama. 2 hours after I got off the phone with him, I had ended up on life support.
So this is a statement from your mom?
That is a statement from my mom.
Turns out Miss Forrest found out she was pregnant in August, but Mr. Webb says she told him it was September. And get this, Miss Forrest is convinced her husband is the dad because the baby was born in May, which lines up with when she was only sleeping with him. But wait, didn't she and Mr. Webb have a little rendezvous right before he ended up in the hospital?
Mr. Webb, how did you find out she was pregnant?
She had called me the day that I got out of the hospital. I was on my way to Illinois with my dad. I got a phone call. We had a discussion. She said that I may be the father, but then again, I may not be because she was back with Mr. Forrest.
Mr. Webb is really feeling the pain of not being able to see his little girl. He's tried reaching out, but Miss Forrest has been blocking him at every turn. She's worried he's going to take the baby and run, but Mr. Webb just wants a chance to bond with his daughter. The judge is starting to see that Miss Forrest might be a little too protective here.
My daughter was born on May 9th of 2013.
Okay.
And then you take it back 9 months later, that takes it to the week of August 26th through August 31st.
August 26th through August 31st, you were sleeping with your...
Just my husband.
The thing about it, Your Honor, is...
All right, it's the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and the judge is about to reveal who the real daddy is. Mr. Webb is on the edge of his seat, hoping against hope that this is his chance to be a father. Miss Forrest, on the other hand, looks like she's about to have a heart attack.
As to whether her biological father is Mr. Webb or Mr. Forrest, it has been determined by this court that her biological father is Mr. Webb.
Spending 5 whole years in prison for not paying child support, Bill Manser still stands on his belief that the defendant's son, Dylan, is not his. Both Manser and the defendant, Sarah, are at the court to finally put Manser's doubts to rest. But first, Manser tells the court about the circumstances surrounding his imprisonment.
I'm here to explain that 12 hours of my life cost me 5 years in the Department of Corrections. She was a friend of my aunt's. She was best friends with my aunt. We all lived in the same little community. She lived across the street. I knew of her. I knew her. I've spoken to her. But as far as intimacy, we was together one time, and I didn't find out anything about the child until I was served with papers in 1995.
And so you showed up for court, and what
No,
happened?
I wasn't able to.
Well, thank God for Judge Lauren's show. Anyway, after Manser finished his time in prison, he began paying child support. But this was someone who still doubted that Dylan was his. So, naturally, he asked his public defender for paternity proof. It turned out that the said proof was a DNA report provided by Sarah.
He said that they obtained my DNA through a sample that was already on file. That's what she's claimed this whole time.
For a daughter you didn't raise too.
So, that's right. I'm not here to win any Father of the Year awards, believe me.
You wouldn't get it.
But I'm here to say that, you know, in today's society, I think it's cruel and unusual punishment to be sentenced to 5 years in prison with rapists and murderers and child molesters.
Yeah, I can understand why Manser is upset. However, he did not show up in court when he was supposed to, which was a mistake on his part. Meanwhile, Sarah is right there telling the court that she truly believes that Manser, with whom she has another son named Chris, is Dylan's father. But what proof does she have to back up her claim? Let's find out.
Now, are you convinced he is the father?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because I have had a DNA test done, and I have the results right here. Would you like a copy of it?
Well, she's worked for lab pretty much for the last 20 years. Those was I'd question the validity of the results. I mean, she'd get those anyway.
Hold on 1 second.
And it also shows the lab that the seal was not tampered with. Therefore, I could not have tampered with the sample.
I never submitted a test.
Whew, things are getting pretty intense. Now, Sarah supposedly got a DNA test done, which revealed that Dylan belonged to Manser. However, Manser claims that Sarah worked in a laboratory for 20 years and could have manipulated the results. Things get more interesting when the judge reveals that there is no evidence of Manser's sample being collected in the DNA report provided by Sarah.
Mr. Manser, let me say this to you. What I do believe that's missing in all of this evidence is I don't see any information relating to the collection of the sample from Mr. Manser. Nothing. Now, this court has administered new testing, and both of you submitted to the test.
And it was
True. At least this time, both parties were actively involved in providing samples for the DNA test, and it looks like Manser is pleased with this development. As for Sarah, I can't say for sure due to her sudden out, in which she claimed that Manser had never been a good father. However, their son, Chris, begs to differ. I mean, see what he had to say.
Mr. Manser's son.
Yes.
Please tell us, has he been a father to you? And if so, has he been a good one?
Absolutely. He's been a great father to me. We've had our ups and downs as a father-son relationship should be.
We're best friends.
We really are.
We're best friends.
And Chris, you've met Dylan, Miss Sear's son.
I originated that.
Were you like brothers, Chris?
Absolutely.
Dylan, the primary focus of this whole court battle. After being invited into the courtroom, Dylan tells the court that he barely knows or has any connection with Manser, although he is close to Chris. He adds that while his relationship with Manser doesn't really matter to him, he wants Manser to be a part of his daughter's life, who will soon be born.
I haven't seen either one of them in over a year now.
Daughter on the way.
I have a daughter due in November. you're the grandpa. I'd like for you to be part of her life, too.
I've advised you to get proof.
I've advised him to raise his child from day one.
Ms. Sear, you are very emotional right now. What are you feeling in this moment?
I feel like I have never, ever deserved disrespect.
Damn right. I agree with the judge before this becomes another round of accusations and hurtful statements. Now that a new DNA test has been done, we need to know the truth about Dylan's paternity. And most especially, if Sayre's results authentic or forged. Let's see how this goes, shall we?
Because of the sensitivity of this issue, ran 2 tests. The results are as follows. In the case of Manser versus Sear, as it pertains to 20-year-old Dylan Sear, Mr. Manser, you are not
God.
his father.
Oh, man. 5 years in prison.
Oh wow, that's wild. After everything Sayre has said, and even presented a clearly fake DNA report, this is really shocking. But if you think that Sayre showed any ounce of remorse after all of this, you better think again. She did not. Instead, she did this.
I did what I did.
But this is nothing I made up. The lab did it.
You made it all up.
No, I did not.
Well, those results
I
apparently
don't know
are made
any
up.
of those people on that form.
Oh, my God.
This is clearly the most shocking news we've ever gotten in this courtroom.
Oh, my God. She should be convicted of some crime.
No, I should not. I didn't.
That is fraud.
Jason Deggs has always believed that the defendant's son, Jason, is his, because the defendant, Guerin, told him so. However, when Jason was 6 months old, Guerin admitted that Deggs may not be Jason's biological father. It turned out that Guerin had cheated, of which Deggs was aware. But how exactly did Deggs find out about Guerin's infidelity?
At the time, we were moving out of my best friend's apartment, and it was just about that I got the truck loaded up with everything. And I went upstairs to grab my last box, and my best friend at the time pulled me aside and told me him and my brother had both slept with me.
What?
I was hurt.
They both.
Your
Both.
Honor, he
They both
cheated in the
slept.
very beginning of our relationship. It was even
No.
before we were a month together.
Ms. Guerin,
when he first cheated.
OMG! I definitely didn't see that coming. How is it possible that she slept with not only her boyfriend's brother, but also his friend? Even Judge Lauren was shocked, and she asked Guerin how she had gotten herself into such a situation. Here is what she had to say to defend herself.
Honestly, it just happened. I didn't do it out of spite towards him or anything. It's not because I'm a bad person. At the time, I was lacking affection from him. He was never home.
You slept with my brother too.
Yes.
You slept with my best friend and my brother. So if okay, twice the
Ms.
pain.
Guerin, his brother, I was really young at the time, and
You keep talking about how young you were. If you were so young, you shouldn't have been sleeping with everybody.
Nah, this is wrong. What's worse is that she doesn't even look remorseful about it. But let's keep going. Along the way, it was revealed that Deggs also cheated. So to Guerin, it felt that they were even. After that, Guerin got pregnant, and everything was smooth, even until the baby's delivery, as she had Jason by her side from the start.
I cut the cord. I've been there since day one, taking care of this baby and this woman. And then she has the nerve to wait.
Mr. Deggs, you thought this child was yours.
Something.
Yes, Your Honor, I sure did.
No doubts in your mind. You're going on about your life.
Ready to
with
get
your
my
new
family
baby.
established. Make the family that
Even though
I
he was
never
telling me
had.
how much of a cheater I was, how bad I was, everything, you're just...
Yeah, because I was still hurt.
Preach, Judge, preach. But that didn't reduce the heat in the courtroom. Both Guerin and Deggs went on and on about how the other person was never a responsible parent. However, Deggs' ex-girlfriend, Marshall, was invited to the podium, where she stated that she was 100% certain that Deggs was a way better parent to Jason than Guerin.
You're here today because you feel as if Jason, Mr. Deggs, is a better parent than Ms. Guerin.
100%. Oh my God.
Thank you. You may be seated. Ms. Guerin, this is complicated because you have a new boyfriend and you say he's also stepped up to be
Absolutely.
a father.
He stepped up beyond my expectations of...
Okay.
He's
All
done
right,
more
I want to
than
meet
Jason
your witness.
over the last
Mr.
3
Felton,
years.
please stand now.
Felton, Guerin's boyfriend, naturally stepped up to be Jason's father figure. Although he says that he is not in any way trying to take Deggs' position as Jason's biological father, Felton does what he can to show up for Jason. And now, it appears that Guerin has become comfortable with it because she hopes that Deggs isn't Jason's biological father.
What do you want from this, Ms. Guerin? Do you want Mr. Deggs to be the father?
For me right now, no, I do not want Jason to be the father because every weekend it's drama. It's another girl.
Mr. Deggs, what do you want from today?
I want to be
to
in
go
Jason's
his own way.
life. I love Jason.
That's why
with
he's
all my
called us
heart and
for the
soul.
last-
And if he is your son, are you willing to step up
Yes, of
in every
course.
way?
in every way.
Finally, the time we have all been waiting for is here. It is time for the ultimate reveal, which will clarify everything that has been argued. Most significantly, it will be revealed whether or not Deggs is Jason's father. Are you as curious as I am to know the truth? Then let's find out.
In the case of Deggs versus Garen, when it comes to baby Jason Deggs, Mr. Deggs, you are not the father.
And that's for the best. Honestly, it's for the best because he has only stayed this long so that he could get whatever benefit he's getting out of it.
What in the world did this woman just say? I'm as shocked as you are right now. After everything that she has put him through and the turmoil that they have both gone through, she then says this after the reveal? Wow. Such an outrageous behavior. Even Judge Lake is appalled.
Taking care of a 3-year-old child.
I am disgusted that you would perpetrate this lie on this man during your entire pregnancy up through a delivery room, let him cut the cord on a baby. I know you know good and well that wasn't his child. I could tell by the look on your face today. He was more nervous than you were.
But the judge wasn't even done as she went on to give Garen a piece of her mind. Now, did Garen end up becoming ashamed of her act? No. Heck, she didn't apologize to Deggs at all. Instead, she did this.
What does he want to get out of it?
With still trying to be involved with me and also being...
Oh,
yes,
I should have known.
That's a huge part of it. It's a huge part of it.
I should have known it was gonna be about you.
It's not about me.
Now, you're standing here and the only one emotional on the brink of tears is him.
After a 2-week-long period of romance and lovemaking, Mr. Taylor claims that Miss Orr is trying to pin a baby that isn't his on him. But here is where things take a different turn. It appears that all this while, Taylor has been trying to get Orr to do a DNA test on baby Eric so he can know for sure if he is the father. What did Orr do? Well, you guessed right. She avoided it.
I have tried to get a DNA test from the moment I found out about Eric, and she has denied it, dodged it every which way she can. Like, she's argued with me, said that he looks just like me. Why would I need DNA?
Ms. Orr, are you trying to avoid the DNA test for Eric?
No, Your Honor. I believe that Michael, if he wants a DNA test, he needs to get it done, not me. It's not my job.
I can feel a fresh storm brewing. The relationship dynamic between these two is a bit wild. Hear me out. Having met on a dating site, Taylor and Orr had sexual relations with each other the very day they met, physically. Now, what's confusing is that despite the fact that they were sexually intimate for 2 whole weeks, Taylor believes that the kid isn't his. Doesn't that sound wrong? Or is there something else that is fueling Taylor's doubts? Let's find out.
She told me it was mine, yes, but I did not agree to them terms, no, because I myself knew of 3 other different possibilities.
No, there's no other 3.
It's conception, not a contract. Jerome, he said he did not agree to those terms, okay? So at that moment, what you're saying is you did not believe that you were the only possible father.
I didn't know.
But as usual, Orr had a defense for that. She claimed that her baby was born 6 weeks earlier than the due date and wanted to wait a while before informing Taylor. But it is a whole week we're talking about here. To make matters worse, it was revealed that another man was in the labor room with Orr. So what did she have to say about this revelation?
That was a friend guy.
This child.
Really?
He was a friend guy.
Was this a friend you've been intimate with in the past?
No.
So why is he up at the hospital?
Because he's supposed to have been like the godfather of my son.
How did you have time to notify the godfather and not the biological father?
A family member contact my friend.
You're accusing him of not being there, and yet you are blocking him from being there at the most important moment. I don't understand.
And that's on period. Taylor wants to be a part of baby Eric's life, and he has demonstrated that since the day he was able to meet him physically. He would take pictures of him bonding with his son and post them on Facebook. So it really hurt, and got Taylor confused when, out of nowhere, Orr tells him to take down the pictures. Take a look at this.
How did she give you that doubt?
Because she told me to take the pictures of her son off Facebook. Your Honor, she's basically harassed me that this is nothing but my child.
Your son together?
Because Mr. Taylor, he will still haul a DNA test. I'm sitting there going to the hospital every night with Eric, staying there, feeding him, making sure he gets well and get out of the hospital. He's in a NICU, 6 weeks early.
Well, I kinda get why she would be upset about the whole thing. I mean, Taylor would ask her for a DNA test and yet still post loving pictures of himself and Eric on the net. Anyway, these two continue to prove their points when suddenly Taylor said the most horrifying thing. You guys need to take a look at this.
She just went as far as like saying the child had a crooked penis. She asked me if I had one. I said yes. She said, so how can you deny that this is your son? So she said,
all I have to say is I hope nobody brought an exhibit.
Your Honor, my son could not get circumcised. He was over 90 degrees.
Miss Orr, did you say that your baby has a crooked penis?
Man, half of the things that happen in Lauren's court are just too wild. I mean, what was that? Anyway, a medical expert was brought in to discuss whether Orr's statement about her baby and Taylor's similar characteristics is enough proof that Eric belonged to Taylor. Why don't we take a look at what the doctor had to contribute to this?
There's actually two different conditions we're talking about here.
Okay.
One actually happens in babies and infants, and the other one happens in older adults. So the first one is court age, which actually happens in infants.
So if the father and the son are both born with it, is it an indicator of paternity?
Based on my medical opinion, it would be highly unlikely, but possible.
Well, there you have it. Summarily, the doctor revealed that while such may be possible, it isn't necessarily an indicator of paternity. However, both parties, especially Orr, are still not convinced, even with the testimony of a medical expert. Due to this underlying doubt, the judge decided to announce the DNA result to put the doubts to rest.
Mr. Taylor, you are not the father. Calm down, Mr. Taylor. I know this was disappointing. I could tell from the pictures you had formed a bond with the baby.
I wish I never knew her. I don't see how that's...
So even though you had doubts, it is obvious you were coming here hoping to be wrong.
Right.
In this episode of Paternity Court, things are a little more wild. So it turns out that the defendant, Morris, cheated on her boyfriend, Byram, but claims that he is the father of her 1-month-old son, Jackson. Now, not only did this lady cheat on Byram, but she wasn't even slick about it. So Byram was able to find out very quickly. But how exactly did Byram find out?
She cheated on me we're hanging out the night before, because we're really close friends. We stayed up all night, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up probably 7 o'clock. He's already gone. She fought with me the night before so she can leave and stay at her grandma's house. I went over to her grandma's. She was over there with the kid. I seen him on the couch at first through the window. And then that's when I started banging on the doors and the windows. And then I go in the house. He's hiding up in the attic of her grandma's house.
That must have been an incredibly annoying sight, considering that it was the second time he caught her cheating. Now, one would think that, at least, Morris would have something good to say in her defense. Not that there is a defense for cheating, but still. When she was asked how she ended up cheating, here is what she had to say for herself.
We were having trouble way before I even slept with his friend. I was always constantly getting accused. He's always constantly telling me I'm cheating. It's been happening for 4 years now.
And so what I'm trying to understand is he keeps accusing you, so you just go ahead and validate the accusation?
Well, we technically we split up for a month, and he was living down the street at his friend's, and he was dating a different girl.
Oh, please. Is that even an excuse? This lady is beginning to get on my nerves. But you haven't even heard the shocking part yet, guys. So, it turned out that Morris had sexual relations with both men only 2 days apart. I promise I didn't cook this up. She said so herself. Take a look.
Did you sleep with Mr. Byram? You say you are certain he's the father of Jackson. When did you sleep with him?
September 27th.
September 27th.
She could have slept with him the same day. It wasn't just that one time she's saying. She was sleeping with him every day. I would go over there and get mine in the morning, and she would have him at night.
We split up for a month, and he was constantly blowing my phone up every day.
I mean, Miss Morris says one thing, and Taylor counters her claims. He states that her relationship with the other possibility went on for months, which makes him believe that this man might be Jackson's father and not him. Worse, Morris sent pictures of baby Jackson to the other man's mom, and this pissed off Taylor even further.
And then his mom pictures of the baby. She's trying to tell me that it's my kid.
His mother, the other guy's mother, said if it does turn out to be her son's, that she wanted to be in his life. So when the baby was first born, I sent her pictures of the baby because she was asking me about how much he was. No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
About how much he weighed and all that. So it's not an everyday thing. It only happened twice.
Would you just imagine that? The other guy is not even available to fight for his child, much less perform his duties as a father to baby Jackson. At this point, I feel sorry for the baby to have been born in between this drama. All of this is just a mess. And you will also agree with me when you see the following clip.
So you do admit you're having a hard time bonding with Jackson because you don't know.
I still buy him clothes and toys and do whatever for him, but I keep my distance from him because I don't know if he's my son.
And then sometimes he'll say it's his son. Sometimes he'll act like a dad to him, and then sometimes he won't. So it's like a mood swing type of thing.
Exactly. She's yapping about Taylor's fluctuating behavior towards Jackson, yet she's never once acknowledged that all of this must be extremely hard for Taylor to bear. This is all shades of wrong. What makes this more unfair is the fact that even after she cheated, Taylor stood by her through her pregnancy, not the man who she claims was giving her compliments.
I was there for everything, every step of her pregnancy, helping her out, doing everything for her, the whole time.
You helped her out the entire time? You came when the baby was born?
I was there.
I
held the baby first.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
You did not?
No. I just kept looking at him and thinking about what she did to me, and I can't do it with him, you know? I can't treat him the same as my other kids, because I know for a fact.
It's normal for her to want to come back because she knows that the other man or men have nothing to offer her but a sexual relationship, whereas Taylor truly loves her and would do anything for the kids. Now, Morris is genuinely sad and scared about where all of this will leave them once the paternity results are revealed, which is understandable.
Morris, it seems like this truly is affecting you. I can see behind your eyes a lot of sadness.
Yes, Your Honor.
You know you've made a mistake.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you regret the mistake you made?
I regret cheating, but I don't regret my son. I mean, I would never regret a kid, regardless of what happened.
That's sad. The DNA results need to be announced for everyone's sake, especially Jackson. That way, both parties would know the next line of action to take. So, let's find out what truth the test result holds, shall we?
Mr. Byron, you are the father.
Yes. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That really helped me out a lot.
How does it feel now?
Feels great. Almost want to cry that he's mine.
That would be fine. You've been through a lot. And I can see by the way you talked about how you love your other children, that was really bothering you.
Lewis has known for 44 years that Mr. McAllister is his father, despite McAllister's constant denials. This 44-year-old mystery is about to be unraveled in court. Mr. Lewis hopes today's results will finally end the excuses and give him the closure he's been waiting for. Will the DNA results reveal the truth, or will Mr. McAllister's doubts persist? Let's dive in.
Mr. Lewis, you say you've always known the defendant is your father and say his paternity denials are mere excuses as to why he was not there for you. You hope today's results put an end to this 44-year-old mystery. Is that correct?
Yes. Growing up in South Central Los Angeles, Mr. Lewis faced a lot of challenges without a father figure. He shares how tough it was not having a dad to answer his questions and guide him through life. Despite the difficulties, he managed to navigate his way, but the absence of his father always lingered. This is more than just a sob story. It's his life, and today he's ready for answers.
It was tough not having a father there, you know, knowing that you have one, you know, just different things that went on through my life that it made things a lot tougher for me coming up, you know, but thank God that everything worked out.
So, Mr. McAllister, do you hear Mr. Lewis's testimony?
Yes, I do.
It was very difficult growing up knowing he had a dad.
Mr. McAllister claims he's had years of doubt about being Mr. Lewis's father. He mentions hearing 3 or 4 different versions of who the father could be, which fueled his uncertainty. Now he wants to know the truth once and for all. He's ready to confront the rumors and end this long-standing mystery with a DNA test. Talk about a roller coaster.
Why is that? Were you doubtful all of these years?
Yes, ma'am. And the reason why I was doubtful is because I heard maybe 3 or 4 different versions of who the dad was, and that put doubt in my mind what the actual truth is.
So, Mr. McAllister, can you tell the court what was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Lewis's mother?
Me and Miss Lewis, we attend the same high school together.
Back in high school, Mr. McAllister and Ms. Lewis had a brief fling after a dance. Mr. McAllister thought it was just a casual encounter, but it could have left a lasting legacy. He never spoke to Ms. Lewis again after that night. Meanwhile, Mr. Lewis's mom kept the affair a secret, trying to protect her son from the turmoil. How's that for a plot twist?
I knew her as a casual friend. However, the young lady that I was dating at the time, we either had our differences or whatever, and somehow me and Mrs. Lewis hooked up for an evening and never talked to her from that point on.
Well, my mom, you know, because the type of woman she was, she didn't want to allow the turmoil from that
Mr. Lewis received a picture of Mr. McAllister from his mom when he was in high school. This photo was a defining moment for him. He wanted to look for his father, but was also focused on his own life. It's a bittersweet situation. He wanted to know who his dad was, but had to keep moving forward. Now, with today's test, he hopes to put all doubts to rest.
She let me know who he was as a father. She had a picture of him. She gave me this picture, with his,
So was this some defining moment in your life when your mother said to you, I want to tell you who your father...
No, it was clear, yeah.
It was clear.
It was clear, yeah.
And so when you got this picture and you had the name, and did you ever say, I want to look for him? Where is he?
In 1981, Mr. McAllister traveled to Los Angeles and heard from a relative that he might have a son. When he asked Ms. Lewis about it, she told him the child's father was dead. This added another layer of confusion to the already tangled web of stories. With all these conflicting versions, Mr. McAllister just wants clarity. Can you believe the drama?
All this time you never knew you potentially had a son?
No, ma'am. I traveled to Los Angeles back in '81, and I ran into a relative of the family. And this individual told me that their relative had my son. And I got the information and I called Mrs. Lewis and I asked her, do we need to talk about something? And she said no.
Mr. McAllister's doubts grew when he heard that Ms. Lewis might have had a relationship with his cousin, Michael. Michael is now deceased, adding another twist to this complicated story. The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as we get closer to the truth. What will the DNA results reveal about Mr. Lewis's paternity?
My first cousin, Michael, and unfortunately, a family member told me there was someone from the location, the city that I stayed in. He died. So those are 4 different versions. So as I said, before I leave here, I just felt that it's just important that I know for sure.
Where are you getting all these versions from?
The young lady that I was dating back during this time.
Despite the doubts, Mr. McAllister named his own son Germaine, partly because he remembered Mr. Lewis's name. This connection shows that Mr. Lewis was never far from his mind. However, the rumors and lack of communication kept the truth hidden. Mr. McAllister admits he accepted the possibility of being Mr. Lewis's father, but he still had his doubts.
I see that Mr. Lewis's full name is Germaine Michael Lewis.
I never even looked at that like that.
And Michael is your cousin's first name.
That is correct.
So, Mr. Lewis, I have to ask you, have you ever heard anything about Mr. McAllister's cousin or your mother potentially having a relationship with him?
Never.
When Mr. McAllister reached out to Mr. Lewis at 16, it was a bittersweet reunion. Mr. Lewis felt his father's sudden interest was due to his football success and scholarship offers. This made him question McAllister's motives. However, McAllister insists he had no idea about the scholarship and just wanted to know his son. The tension is palpable.
I reached out to him and I would like to meet him.
How old was Germaine then?
He was 16 at the time.
Okay. Well, I have to ask you this. Why, if you were told definitively that his father had passed away, why are you now making these gestures, trying to connect with this young man?
Because of a credible friend of mine.
All right, folks, it's time for the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and we're about to find out if Mr. McAllister is the father of Mr. Lewis. Emotions are running high, and the stakes couldn't be higher for this long-standing mystery. Stay tuned to see how this unfolds and if Mr. Lewis finally gets the closure he deserves.
Mr. McAllister, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What are you feeling in this moment, sir?
I feel grateful and gratitude that now I know the truth. If I had known he was my son, a fleet of elephants wouldn't have been able to keep me away from him.
Mr. Silva and Ms. Reeves bring a whole new level of drama to paternity court. Ms. Reeves wants to prove that Mr. Silva is the biological father of her 7-month-old son, Legend. She's tired of the constant doubts and accusations from Mr. Silva. It's been a roller coaster ride for 3 years, and now they're seeking closure.
Ms. Reeves, you are here today to prove that the defendant, Mr. Silva, is the biological father of your 7-month-old son, Legend. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You now stand here because you say there is absolutely no way you are the biological father of the plaintiff's son. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Silva has some controversial views, to say the least. He believes it's okay for men to cheat, but not for women. Talk about double standards. He admits to loving women and sex, and he thinks God created men to conquer. Yeah, you heard that right. He doesn't trust Ms. Reeves and feels she's tricking him into believing Legend is his son.
Mr. Silva, why do you have doubts?
I just don't trust her, Your Honor. I feel like she's tricking me into believing that I'm Legend's father. I grew up loving women, loving sex.
You grew up loving sex?
To me, I always felt like it was okay for men to go out, have sex, and, you know, cheat, come home to their family, and women can't go out, have sex, and, you know, come home, and especially with a baby.
Ms. Reeves argues that Mr. Silva's infidelity is the real issue here. She's been faithful, but he projects his unfaithfulness onto her. She's had enough of the accusations and wants to move forward without the drama. Mr. Silva, however, isn't convinced and thinks she's been unfaithful during their breaks.
And so you believe he's projecting his unfaithfulness onto you?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you doing that, Mr. Silva? Do you have any reason to believe Ms. Reeves has not been faithful? You basically said in so many words that you believe it's okay for men to go outside of the relationship to cheat, but not okay for women to do the same.
Yes, Your Honor.
The tension escalates as Mr. Silva recalls how he broke up with Ms. Reeves after catching her texting her ex. He confronted her, and she changed her phone password, making him even more suspicious. Ms. Reeves insists the texts were harmless, but Mr. Silva isn't buying it. Trust issues galore.
Your Honor, we were broken up for 4 weeks, Your Honor. I called her texting her ex.
Is that why you broke up?
Yes, Your Honor.
When you
I confronted her
with
about texting her ex. You know, this ain't, you know, I caught them texting multiple times. She claims they're just friends, you know, and I had it. One day I just decided to try to go on her phone, and she changed her password on me.
During her pregnancy, Mr. Silva was absent. He only showed up for the birth, feeling pressured to sign the birth certificate despite his doubts. Now, Legend is 7 months old, and Mr. Silva has been involved, but still questions the paternity. He loves Legend, but can't shake off the doubt.
Are you involved, or are you basically just being standoffish because you don't think it's your child?
Your Honor, I was ripped when, as soon as she told me, I told her who was the father. So I did not believe I was the father, and I was not with her during her pregnancy. I was only there.
You said, I want to be there at the hospital when the baby
Yes, and throughout the whole time I'm telling her I want a DNA test.
Ms. Reeves reveals a message from another woman claiming Mr. Silva told her that Ms. Reeves didn't know who the father was. Mr. Silva admits to being grimy and saying things out of spite. This admission only fuels the fire of distrust between them. It's a mess.
Like, well, I have proof right here. A girl, she messaged me, you know, they was talking, he was...
Let me see that evidence. Jerome, will you hand that to me?
Here you go. He didn't know me. I'm just...
So you got a message out of the blue from another woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, he told me you were his ex and that you were pregnant, but you're and didn't know who the dad was.
Yes, ma'am.
Despite his doubts, Mr. Silva's been there for Legend since day one. He wants to continue being a father, but needs the DNA test to confirm it. Ms. Reeves is hurt by his constant questioning and just wants to move forward as a family. The stakes are high and emotions are running wild.
Did you tell this woman that she was pregnant, but she didn't know who the father of her child was?
Your Honor, I told her that she was pregnant, and I told her that she wasn't pregnant by me, you know, but, you know, just being grimy.
Well, that's honest. Go ahead and tell the truth. So you were being grimy.
I just did that just to pretty much, you know, if she was out there doing whatever.
Mr. Silva hopes the test will show he's the father so they can work on their relationship, but he makes it clear that if he's not the father, he can't stay with Ms. Reeves. He's ready to move on if the results aren't in his favor. Talk about high stakes.
Well, I want him to love me the way that I love my parents. I want him to grow up the same way that I grew up with both of his parents in his life. You know what I mean? I don't want to continue to argue about it.
The baby honestly looks more like her than me. How could I tell the baby is mine if he doesn't really even look like me for real?
Look at him. What are you talking about?
Her ex looks just like me. He could be her ex.
All right, folks, the moment of truth is here. The DNA results are in, and we're about to find out if Mr. Silva is the father of baby Legend. Emotions are at a peak, and the future of their relationship hangs in the balance. Stay tuned to see how this unfolds.
Mr. Silva, you are the father. You are the father.
That's all I needed to know, Your Honor. Now, I'm sorry. You know, I did have my doubt with Legend, but I know that he's my son, and I would truly, fully love him. And I want us to move on in our relationship.
Mrs. Cohen is in court to prove that her husband, Mr. Cohen, is the father of their 1-year-old son, Kyrie. She claims their marriage is on the verge of divorce because Mr. Cohen denies being Kyrie's father. She wants to save her marriage and show him the truth with a DNA test. Will the test results bring them closer or drive them further apart?
Mrs. Cohen, Cohen, you have opened your case to prove to your husband that he is the father of your 1-year-old son, Kyrie. You say your marriage is on the verge of divorce because Mr. Cohen chooses to deny your young son. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Cohen, trying to hold back tears, explains that she's trying to save their marriage. She met Mr. Cohen in high school, and they've been together for 7 years, married for 3. She's hurt by his accusations, especially since she believes they both contributed to their relationship's problems. Can their high school sweetheart story survive this storm?
Right now, I'm trying to save my marriage because we are on the verge of divorce. I want to prove to him that he is the father of our 1-year-old son. He's my high school sweetheart. We met in the 10th grade. We started dating. We've been together for 7 years, married for 3, and I just really want to prove to him and his family members that he is the father of our 1-year-old son.
Mr. Cohen says his trust has been shattered after discovering his wife brought another man into their home and had sex with him under their roof. He feels betrayed and questions Kyrie's paternity. Today's DNA results will determine the fate of their marriage. Talk about high stakes.
Mr. Cohen, you hear your wife is saying that you all have both pretty much destroyed the relationship together, but now this paternity question is taking it over the top. I see tears in your eyes.
Yeah, sure.
It matters to you.
Yes.
What are you feeling?
I'm just really hurt right now that we had to come this far to get these answers. And I have had lots of doubt about Kyrie.
He talks about the guilt of becoming a father at an age where he was never ready to be one. But he still shows up for them and tries to take on the role as best as he can. And this gets a bit of appreciation from Judge Lauren.
I wasn't ready to be a father or a husband to our oldest child, but I took the role and I tried as best as I can. I didn't look at my wife the same way after she had him, and I was young and I wanted to do everything my friends was doing. It wasn't the best choice, which led us here today.
In April, Mr. Cohen found out about his wife's infidelity by unlocking her phone while she slept. Using her hand to unlock the device, he went through every single thing he could think of. Photos, call logs, messages, everything.
Me and Jasmine, we broke up. We said we was gonna be done with each other for good. We were still living under the same roof in the same house. Going into May, we began to have sex again, all that good stuff. I went through Jasmine's phone one day after we got back together, and her phone was locked. She had a passcode on it.
As he was going to put away the phone, he discovered a note with his name and 2 other men's names. One name he recognized, but the other was new. This discovery fueled his doubts about Kyrie's paternity. Talk about a shocking revelation.
So I was like, oh, my wife's not cheating no more. We're about to be happy. I was about to lock the phone. Right when I was about to lock the phone, I opened up the notes in her phone, and I seen my name at the top. I clicked on the note, and there was 2 other names under my name. I instantly realized that was the people Jasmine had been intimate with because my name was first.
Mrs. Cohen admits to cheating during a break in their relationship. She met another man during community service and brought him to their home. She says she did it to get back at her husband for his infidelities. This tangled web of revenge and mistrust is getting messier by the minute.
Was he ordered to community service? There's a difference.
He was ordered, but I met him at community service, and when we took our lunch break, he came back to the house and we had sex. But I was already pregnant, and he knew that I was already pregnant. We just broke up.
But we were not having sex, Your Honor, during our breakup, which was in April during her conception.
Mr. Cohen wasn't happy when he found out Mrs. Cohen was pregnant. They were in a bad place, and he doubted they were even intimate during the time of conception. Mrs. Cohen insists they were having sex regularly. The conflicting testimonies only add to the suspense. Who's telling the truth?
Was the sex unprotected?
With who?
With the community service guy.
Yes.
So, Mr. Cohen, soon after this incident, you find out your wife is pregnant.
Yes.
Take me to that day.
I wasn't happy at all, to be honest, because I wasn't ready to have another child and we was already in a bad place. So during that time, that was when we were still broken up.
Mr. Cohen also cites his type 2 diabetes as a reason for doubting his paternity. He believes his condition affected his fertility, making it unlikely he fathered Kyrie. A medical expert explains that while diabetes can impact fertility, it doesn't make it impossible. This medical twist adds another layer to the drama.
I have type 2 diabetes, and I didn't have no insurance at the time, so it was uncontrolled, meaning my sugars were always high. So every time I would ejaculate, my semen would become weird and it can't travel right.
So how I get pregnant, Corey?
Well, I was about to say, you all do have another child together, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, folks, it's time for the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and we're about to find out if Mr. Cohen is Kyrie's father. Emotions are running high, and the stakes couldn't be higher for this troubled couple. Will this be the resolution they need to save their marriage, or the final nail in the coffin? Stay tuned to find out.
Mr. Cohen, you are the father.
Everybody can follow me.
You can stand with your wife, you can stand with your husband. I'll tell you, some of the best life lessons come from the hugest mistakes. That's just the way it goes.
Mr. Brock and Ms. Almanza are in court today, and things are getting messy. Mr. Brock claims he's been supporting Ms. Almanza's 2 children for 5 years, but he's convinced they aren't his. He's requesting a paternity test for the 2 kids and the unborn child, plus a lie detector test for cheating. This case is full of twists and turns.
Mr. Brock, you claim you have been supporting Ms. Almanza's 2 children for the last 5 years and are convinced they are not yours. You have petitioned the court requesting a paternity test to determine if you are the father of the children in question and the one she is currently carrying.
Ms. Almanza is confident that today's DNA results will prove Mr. Brock is the father of her children. She's also asking for a lie detector test, hoping to clear her name. Mr. Brock doubts her because their relationship began while he was ending another one. It's complicated, folks.
Now, Mr. Brock, why, after an 11-year relationship, do you believe the defendant has been lying and the kids may not be yours?
We've been dealing with each other for like 11 years or whatever, but the foundation of our relationship wasn't based on, husband, wifey, this was somebody who I was messing with during the time I was basically ending a relationship.
Mr. Brock's doubts started when Ms. Almanza got pregnant while he was incarcerated. He says the timing was off from what she initially told him. Ms. Almanza insists his calculations were wrong. With both of them pointing fingers, it's hard to know who to believe. This suspense is killing me.
During that time, she ended up pregnant.
That was because we weren't in an exclusive relationship.
So friends are ball game when it's not exclusive? Okay, continue.
Technical difficulties, I ended up getting incarcerated. Well, during that time...
From technical difficulties?
Technical difficulties.
That's a new crime.
Right.
Living together and currently pregnant, Ms. Almanza accuses Mr. Brock of still messing around. She even reveals he has a child with her relative. Mr. Brock admits to infidelity, but claims it happened during a break in their relationship. This tangled web just keeps getting worse.
He asked me. He didn't say anything or deny my daughter. He just asked why the timing was off.
So you say his calculation is the one that was off?
Right at that time, yes.
Okay, so Ms. Almanza, how does it make you feel that he's questioning the paternity of all your children?
Disgusts me because we're living together. We've been in a relationship.
Ms. Almanza refused a DNA test in the past due to a misunderstanding about child support. This fueled Mr. Brock's doubts, but he still took her word for it. He throws around phrases like mama's baby, papa's maybe, but Judge Lake isn't buying it without solid evidence. Things are heating up.
How do you know that, Ms. Almanza? How do you know that?
He's had a child with my relative. No, it's not.
Oh!
That happened during the time me and her, we had our little time out.
So, wow, this is messy.
Mr. Brock says he has 9 other children and doesn't blatantly cheat in front of Ms. Almanza. Despite catching him with text messages and other women, she keeps going back to him to avoid having a part-time father for her kids. This roller coaster relationship is exhausting just to hear about.
You said not blatantly in her face, but you admit to doing it.
Right.
Why is that?
But to me, he tells me
I have 9 other children.
What does that have to do with the 9 other children?
Luck be a lady, I guess.
He doesn't tell me these are females picking him up. He doesn't tell me when it comes to the text messages.
At the baby shower, Mr. Brock reluctantly attended because his brother was invited. He felt manipulated, but went anyway. Judge Lake points out the obvious. The father of the child should be at the baby shower. Mr. Brock's logic is hard to follow, and Judge Lake calls him out on it. Can he provide a real reason for his doubts?
He was involved in my baby shower. He was there, so if he doesn't feel that he's the father, why was he there?
So that's a picture from your baby shower.
This is a picture from my baby shower.
So, Mr. Brock, you attended the baby shower.
I mean, she invited my brother, you know, so it's like it put me in a position to where, like, what would it look like your brother show up? I already know the little shenanigans that was put to set up for me, but your brother show up, but you don't show up.
The tension rises as the court prepares for the paternity results. Mr. Brock needs to know if he's the father of Ms. Almanza's children. With 3 children in question, this is a pivotal moment for their relationship. The anticipation is building and emotions are running high. Will the truth finally come out?
She was living her life.
He's not with me, but we live together. He sleeps in the same bed with me.
Sometimes.
But other than that, we live
why
together.
you both have also requested lie detector tests.
Right.
But before that, I believe it's important to establish what these DNA results are. Jerome, if you could hand me.
All right, folks, it's time for the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and we're about to find out if Mr. Brock is the father of these children. Emotions are at a peak, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Will this reveal help mend their broken trust, or will it push them further apart? Stay tuned to find out.
Mr. Brock, you are her father. Mr. Brock, you are the father. Mr. Brock, you are the father. That you are these children's father? I want to hear less quotes and phrases and sayings, and I want to see more action from you.
Well, folks. Looks like we've got another wild one on our hands today. This young man, Damian, was on a mission to find out who his real dad was, and his mom, Miss Johnson, was not holding back. Turns out, she was a bit of a wild child back in the day, and poor Damian had 6 potential fathers to choose from.
Couple of questions. The first question we asked Mr. Slaughter was, what was the nature of your relationship with Miss Johnson, and how did you find out about Damian?
We met through a mutual friend. I know might have been sometime in the early 90s. We kind of lost track of each other after, you know, our relations, and then I seen her later on in life.
Now, the first guy they brought in, Mr. Slaughter, seemed like he might have been the one. He and Miss Johnson had a little fling back in the 90s, and he even admitted that she told him he could be the dad about 2 years ago. But then he dropped a bombshell. He said she actually told him about it when Damian was 13 years old.
You basically started calling everybody you admittedly were sleeping with multiple men. You said you were fast, and you said you were sleeping around. So you just said, you know what? I'm fanning out and I'm telling everybody I was having sex with, you could potentially be my son's biological father.
Yes, because we didn't end up following through with it back then, and that's why we're here today.
We didn't have the money. Like, my mom was doing everything by herself.
And let me tell you, Damian was not having any of it. He called out his mom for being fast and sleeping around, but he also made it clear that he just wants to know who his dad is, no matter how old he is. The poor kid's been without a father his whole life, and he's not gonna let his mom off the hook until she figures it out.
How does that make you feel when he says he would like to be there for you? He would like to be a...
It feels good knowing that somebody is willing to step up and be there, you know, if they are my dad, you know. It'd just be nice to know who my dad is, just be able to call him my dad.
Of course it would. And I want you to understand that every person has that desire, and that's why we do this, for you. Miss Johnson, you know, your son...
Mr. Slaughter seemed to have a change of heart, though. He told the court that if he's proven to be Damian's dad, he's ready to step up and be a good role model and mentor. Damian seemed touched by that, saying it would be nice to have a dad in his life, even if it's a little late in the game.
I feel in my heart that he's Damian's, and that would be the only one to carry on his name.
And that's why the stakes are so high.
Absolutely, because that's 22 years of her son, her brother, that they missed out on.
Well, yes, but they missed out on it, Miss Johnson, and I want to say this to you respectfully, because what I appreciate about you...
But then the judge dropped another bombshell. There's 6 potential father, a guy named Mr. Harmon. Miss Johnson admitted that they had a few sexual encounters, and that's why he could be the dad. Poor Damian. He just looked like he wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear. You could see the pain in his eyes.
Wasn't one. We hung out a couple times and had a couple sexual encounters, and that was it. There was nothing whatsoever.
So this was just sex?
Yes.
But it was unprotected.
Yep.
Which is why you say he could potentially be Damian's biological father.
Right.
Well, Mr. Harmon is here. And we'd like to hear from him. Jerome, will you please escort Mr. Harmon into the courtroom?
The judge, bless her heart, really tried to lift Damian's spirits. She told him that he's an incredible young man and that he should never feel like he's not worth it. She promised they'd keep testing everyone until they get the answer he needs and that he's not going to be in this fight alone.
So you have been friends,
yes,
and you've seen Damian,
yes,
been around him,
yes,
but you never knew
no,
he could potentially be your biological son?
No, I didn't. I have other kids, but I don't think that he's mine.
So, Ms. Johnson, how did you tell Mr. Harmon he could be the father? I mean, he says he knows you. He's seen
I'm still
Damian.
friends with Mr. Henley and Mr. Slaughter.
Then they brought in Mr. Harmon, and the plot thickened even more. Turns out he and Miss Johnson have been friends for a while, but he had no idea Damian could be his son until just 4 weeks ago. The judge was clearly frustrated, wondering why Miss Johnson waited so long to bring this guy into the mix.
I don't care what it is, and I want you to know that there are people that will go to war with you to find out the answers you need. And honey, you will never be in this fight by yourself. You got a soldier in me.
Thank you.
You understand?
The tension in that courtroom was palpable, folks. You could feel the emotions swirling around, with Damian on the verge of tears, and the judge determined to get to the bottom of this mess. When the judge said they were going to test every single potential father, even if there were 33 of them, you could tell she meant business.
Mr. Harmon, you are not the father. Mr. Slaughter is not the father. Mr. Henley, you are not the father. The percentage of relatedness between Miss Lethea Murray and Damian Johnson is 0.00%. You are not related.
Miss Foster is convinced that she's the best mother in the world, and she's here to prove that her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Jackson, is the father of her daughter, Jakia. But Mr. Jackson is having none of it. He claims Miss Foster cheated on him multiple times during their relationship, and there's no way Jakia is his kid. This is gonna be a wild ride, folks.
Your ex-boyfriend planned your pregnancy only to have him abandon you and deny paternity. You are here to prove that he is your daughter, Jakia's biological father. You want him to step up and take care of his daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson, you say Miss Foster cheated on you multiple times during your relationship, and there is no way.
All right, let's dive in. Miss Foster starts off by telling the judge that she and Mr. Jackson had planned this pregnancy, but then he just up and abandoned her and denied paternity. She's confident Jakia is his daughter, and she wants him to step up and take care of her.
He was claiming my first child knowing she wasn't his baby, but then when we planned a baby, he doesn't deny this child at all.
Wait. I want to understand this. So this first baby was not his biological child.
Correct.
But he took you home to his mother like, look at my girlfriend and our baby.
Correct.
Then what happened?
In the midst of us staying together, he told me I was going to be his baby's mother because I'm the best mother in the world.
Turns out Miss Foster and Mr. Jackson met on social media. Shocker, right? Apparently, they had a mutual friend who vouched for Mr. Jackson. So, Miss Foster jumped right into a relationship with him. But things got complicated when Miss Foster had a child from a previous relationship, and Mr. Jackson started claiming that kid as his own, even though it wasn't his.
No, Your Honor, he doesn't think. He had a whole nother girlfriend out of town. He wanted to play house here and there and have us in a polygamous relationship, which he don't got it like that.
Actually, I wasn't playing house.
Actually, he was.
Then, at some point, you found out you're pregnant again.
Yes, Your Honor, after he left out of town again.
So what happened?
I was talking in a relationship with him, and when I found out he was in a relationship with the other female.
Now, the real drama starts when Miss Foster reveals that she got pregnant with Jakia while Mr. Jackson was out of town with another woman. She says she was sleeping with 2 different guys around the same time, and she's not sure who the father is. But she's convinced it's Mr. Jackson, even though he's adamant that he's not the dad.
But you still in my mama's house when I left, though, you feel me?
That's pointless. I mean, that matters nothing to me.
How many times I was like,
you left,
you
brought me her, you left
but
to
her
go
and my
be with
mama
somebody
get back
else.
cool for
Me
some
and my
reason.
baby stayed. That's just what it was.
So, Miss Foster, I want you to take me to the day you found out you were pregnant.
I fell to the floor. I did 3 rolls around the floor in the doctor's office because I wasn't having no kids if...
The judge tries to get to the bottom of the timeline, and it turns out Miss Foster waited a whole month to tell Mr. Jackson she was pregnant. She says they weren't speaking at the time, but come on, you'd think she'd want to get that news out there as soon as possible, right? Mr. Jackson didn't even know about Jakia until she was 6 months old.
I went to the doctor's office. They gave me the conception calendar. I got pregnant February 21st. That's the same day you left. So that week and that week before, I had a menstrual period. We're sleeping together the entire time. While I'm on in the shower every night, every day, 3 times a day, lunch,
We
breakfast,
was only
and dinner,
together
and I
for
was
2
the
weeks.
third.
What you talking? We was together for 2 weeks, bro.
7 days to get pregnant, baby.
Well,
now, the real bombshell drops. Miss Foster admits that she was sleeping with both Mr. Jackson and another guy, Marquise, around the time of conception, but she swears that during the window when Jakia was conceived, she only slept with Mr. Jackson.
You told me you had 2 boyfriends because he had 2 girlfriends, and you were sleeping with them at the same time. What I'm asking is, were you having a sexual relationship with the other guy at the same time you were having it with Mr. Jackson?
Not the exact same time. No, Your Honor, I was not.
So it is your testimony that during the window of conception...
The judge really lays into Miss Foster, telling her that she needs to stop the performance and start being honest. She can see that Miss Foster is a strong woman who's been through a lot, and she's trying to protect herself and her child. But the judge also makes it clear that it's not fair to Jakia to grow up with only one parent, especially when she has 2.
So we haven't been able to establish
basically,
a relationship.
they on the phone, best friends. Then the next day,
So
she
you
on the
have
bathroom.
never seen this baby in person?
No,
In your life? Never hugged her, never nothing?
not yet. No.
15 months? This is the part that drives me crazy. Everybody know how to meet halfway to make a baby, but don't nobody know how to meet halfway to come see the baby and establish a relationship with a parent.
Now, the moment of truth, the DNA results are in. It's time to find out who Jakia's father really is.
Mr. Jackson, you are not the father. What's funny?
That's why I laughed.
You just performing now. Like I said, you want your baby to be a stage show? That's on you. Keep performing. But if you're gonna be a mother to a real human being and a beautiful little girl like that,
Oof. Looks like we've got another messy situation on our hands here, folks. Tiffany is trying to prove that her boyfriend Josh is the father of her 1-month-old son, Jackson. But the twist? Tiffany admits she cheated on Josh with his best friend while they were on a break. Yikes.
petition the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant is the father of your 1-month-old son, Jackson. You hope these results will save your family because you have 2 other kids together. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Byram, you say the plaintiff admitted to sleeping with another man, and when the results prove you are not Jackson's father.
Now, Josh isn't too happy about this whole situation. He claims Tiffany has cheated on him before, and this time, he actually caught her in the act with his buddy. Can you imagine the awkwardness of that? Finding your girlfriend and your best friend hiding in the attic of her grandma's house?
You know, she was over there with the kids. I seen him on the couch at first through the window, and then that's when I started banging on the doors and the windows, and then I go in the house. He's hiding up in the attic of her grandma's house.
Hiding in the attic?
Yes, ma'am. Hiding in the attic up in her grandma's house. I told him, you gotta...
How did you find him in the attic?
I started searching the house because I had a feeling that they were together.
But Tiffany insists that she and Josh were on a 1-month break when she slept with his friend. She says Josh was dating someone else too, so she figured it was fair game. I don't know about that.
Period, the end. That's it.
Well, you shouldn't treat me like crap, and you've always accused
Whatever
me.
you say.
So when did you sleep with Mr. Byram? You say you are certain he's the father of Jackson. When did you sleep with him?
September 27th.
September 27th.
She could have slept with him the same day.
I slept with him on September 25th. That's why we're here today for the results.
Now, the judge is trying to get to the bottom of all this. She's asking some tough questions, like why Tiffany would cheat on Josh if he was constantly accusing her of it anyway. The judge has a point. If Josh was always suspicious, why did Tiffany feel the need to actually go and cheat?
And so this thing with the friend wasn't a one-time thing?
No. They were in a relationship after I moved out.
We were in a relationship
they got together.
when me and him split up for that month.
No, they were together from like July all the way until November. This isn't just a month thing. This was like a 4-month thing.
I'm saying we were in a potential relationship.
And then you all, after all of this, you got back together?
I wanted to get back together because my daughter is in love with me.
And then there's the whole issue of Josh not fully bonding with baby Jackson. He admits he's having a hard time, saying he can't love Jackson the same way he loves his other 2 kids because he's not sure if he's the father. That's gotta be tough, not knowing if this little one is really yours. No wonder he's been keeping his distance.
Or the other potential father?
No, the other potential father is actually incarcerated right now, or else he would be here too.
Dude's in prison. I've been taking care of her and both of the kids. Don't get me wrong, her grandma helps us out with diapers and stuff, but I've been taking care of her and our kids by myself. She don't work.
I go to school. I go to cosmetology school, and the only reason I had to drop out was because I had the baby, so.
Oof. The moment of truth is finally here. Both Tiffany and Josh look nervous, but for different reasons. Tiffany's hoping the results will save her family, while Josh is bracing himself for the possibility that Jackson might not be his. This is it, folks. Will the results bring this couple closer together, or will it drive them further apart?
Mr. Byron, you are the father.
Yes!
Congratulations.
Thank you. That really helped me out a lot. I like.
How does it feel now?
Feels great. Almost want to cry that he's mine.
That would be fine. You've been through a lot. No, really. And I can see by the way you talked about how you love your other children.
This plaintiff, Michael Taylor, claims he had a whirlwind 2-week romance with the defendant, Samantha Orr. And after it ended, she called to tell him she was pregnant with his child. But get this, when Michael showed up at the hospital for the baby's birth, another man was there, and now Michael is convinced the baby isn't his.
Whirlwind 2-week romance with the defendant, and after it ended, she called to tell you that she was pregnant with your child. You say another man was at the hospital for the baby's birth, and therefore your DNA test will come back negative. Dodge his responsibility, and you are confident you will prove he is your child's father. Is that correct?
Your Honor.
Now, Michael claims this isn't the first time he's tried to get a DNA test from Samantha. He says he's been asking for one since the moment he found out about the baby, but Samantha has been dodging it at every turn. She's even gone so far as to argue with him, saying the baby looks just like him and that's proof enough.
No, I'm not, Your Honor.
All right, take me back. I want to understand how this relationship started.
Offline. I met her offline dating website.
Okay,
June
and then you all
14th.
decided to meet in person.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. June 14th.
And so you had sex with Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Unprotected sex?
Yes.
After meeting her on a dating site? You said the relationship lasted 2 weeks?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how many times did you have sex within that 2-week span?
All right, let's rewind a bit and get the backstory on how these two even ended up in this mess. Turns out they met on a dating website and decided to meet up in person. And after that first meeting, they were already getting busy. Unprotected, no less. Yikes. Talk about moving fast.
September the 1st.
Okay.
Of 2016.
And when you realize you're pregnant, do you tell Mr. Taylor? Do you call him? Are you all
Yes,
still
I call.
even in contact?
No, Your
I
Honor.
call
We
him.
were
I
not in
contact him through Facebook to let him know I'm pregnant.
No,
So wait a minute, by the time you
let me know she was pregnant.
Did you say the baby is yours or it could be yours?
Could be yours.
Samantha claims they had sex more than 10 times in that first week. But Michael says it was only a couple of times the following week. Someone's not being entirely truthful here. And get this, Samantha admits there were other men she was intimate with around the time she got pregnant, but she claims Michael was the only one she was with when she was off her birth control. Looks like we've got a real player on our hands, folks.
Mr. Taylor, do you remember the story going that way?
She told me it was mine, yes, but I did not agree to them terms, no, because I myself knew of 3 other different possibilities.
No,
she had
there's
been
no
with.
other
It's conception, not a contract. Jerome, he said he did not agree to those terms, okay?
Okay.
When did you find out the baby was born?
I found out the baby was born a week after.
Now, when Samantha realized she was pregnant, she says she called Michael to let him know. But Michael says Samantha also told him there were other possible fathers, which is why he didn't believe the baby was his in the first place. And get this, Samantha didn't even bother to call Michael when the baby was born. She just waited a whole week to reach out on Facebook.
Because I was told by the nurse there was another man in her room.
That was a
when
friend
she had
guy.
this child.
Really?
He was a friend guy.
Was this a friend you've been intimate with in the past?
No.
So why is he up at the hospital?
Because he's supposed to be like the godfather of my son.
How did you have time to notify the godfather and not the biological father? And yet you are blocking him from being there at the most important moment. I don't understand.
But the plot thickens even more when Samantha reveals that another man was actually present at the hospital when the baby was born. She claims this guy was just a friend, but Michael's not buying it. He thinks Samantha had time to notify this friend about the birth, but couldn't even be bothered to let the supposed father know.
And then the next one you say, father like son with a heart, and you're holding the baby.
Right, Your Honor. That was on her Facebook.
And then the next one says, love my son.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the next one says, first time me feeding him. So, Mr. Taylor, I will say this, the posts you put on Facebook, they looked like you do want to be a part of this child's life.
But the real kicker is when Samantha tries to pull a fast one and sends Michael a collage of pictures comparing the baby to another man, claiming that's proof the baby doesn't look like the other guy. Newsflash, Samantha, that's not helping your case at all. In fact, it's just making Michael even more suspicious. suspicious.
Did not tell me until Eric was a week old. I am unbelievably shocked. I do not know why. I do not know why I deserve it.
What I want to understand is,
For the fact of she had made me have doubt that he was not mine.
how did she give you that doubt?
Because she told me to take the pictures of her son off Facebook. Your Honor, she's basically harassed me that this is nothing but my child.
She has the audacity to claim the baby has a crooked penis, and that's somehow proof Michael is the father, because he has the same condition. Wow, talk about grasping at straws. The judge is clearly not impressed, and even brings in a medical expert to weigh in on this whole crooked penis situation. Turns out it's not really a reliable indicator of paternity, but nice try, Samantha.
6 weeks early. And then Mr. Taylor said here's DNA. Oh, I love my son. That makes...
Picture of a comparison that she had sent me of me
Let me see that, Jerome.
and Eric, and another possibility to Eric.
That's you on the bottom right. That's baby
Right.
Eric in the corners.
Yes, Your Honor.
And another man is on the top left?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why do you send them a collage of pictures with the baby?
All right, the moment of truth has arrived. Time for the DNA results.
Mr. Taylor, you are not the father.
Give me a...
Calm down, Mr. Taylor. I know this was disappointing. I could tell from the pictures you had formed a bond with the baby.
I wish I never knew her. I don't see how that's...
So
yeah,
even
that's
though you
possible.
had doubts, it is obvious you were coming here hoping to be wrong.
Right.
Ooh boy, we've got a real doozy on our hands today, folks. This paternity court case is a wild ride from start to finish. Miss Clark was certain her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Newbie, was the father of her baby, but he wasn't so convinced.
Dated for only 3 months before you became pregnant with his baby. You say the relationship was moving forward until he left you for a woman you claim is old enough to be his mother. It is your belief that she is the reason Mr. Newbie is denying paternity. You do not believe you are the father of her child and claim it has nothing to do with your new girlfriend, Ms. Faulkner.
Miss Clark explained that she and Mr. Newbie dated for 3 months before she got pregnant. But then he up and left her for an older woman, Miss Faulkner. Miss Clark reckons this new lady put all sorts of ideas in Mr. Newbie's head, making him doubt the baby was his.
Miss Clark, first of all, before there was ever Miss Faulkner, you and Mr. Newbie had a relationship.
Yes.
I need you to take me back to that.
Your Honor, when I met him, I was in drug use, but, we were together for 3 months. He was in drug use. 5 years later, my mother had died when I was 18 years old because of cancer. So when he left me when I was 7 months pregnant.
But Mr. Newbie had his own side of the story. He claimed Miss Clark was seeing another guy around the time of conception, and he wasn't convinced the baby was his. Uh-oh, looks like we've got a classic he said, she said situation on our hands.
We were gonna be, have a family, so I was excited about that because I felt that my son was gonna have a father and a mother, and instead...
We were not supposed to be, it's all wrong.
All right,
I told her from the beginning when she first went to jail, she would call me, and yeah, I would talk to her because I was thinking that the baby might possibly be mine. I've had my doubts from the very beginning. She's constantly lied. She's cheated on me with her ex, 3-4 times?
No, only
like
once.
That.
Now, Miss Clark had a pretty rough past. Her dad had died by suicide when she was just 13, and her mom passed away from cancer a few years later. So when Mr. Newbie left her while she was 7 months pregnant, she felt totally abandoned. But she said she cleaned up her act, getting off the drugs for the sake of her baby.
That wasn't a secret. That wasn't a secret. I said it in front of you, in front of him, and in front of his family.
Miss Faulkner, I have to ask you, when he was showing the sonogram picture at work, were you in a relationship with him then?
No, I was not.
So why was it your business what he was showing?
Because I was a friend of his.
And you're old enough.
I have always been a friend of his.
She's always been a really good friend of mine.
Yeah, but you're old
We
enough.
were friends.
Now, I want to hear more about this doubt.
Mr. Newbie, on the other hand, seemed to have some trust issues. He claimed Miss Clark had cheated on him multiple times, even during the time of conception. Miss Clark only admitted to one instance of cheating, but Mr. Newbie wasn't buying it. He said he wanted a DNA test from the very beginning, but Miss Clark kept refusing.
And then I looked,
I
told everybody at work, I ran home trying to get it right up there, and she was just playing.
You sent him a picture of a fake baby.
Well, it was a picture of the internet. It was on the internet or whatever, and I sent him the picture, but I was just upset because
questions why
he had left me.
Okay,
he had left me.
What was your intention behind sending the picture of the fake baby? I need to understand that.
Things got even messier when Mr. Newbie mentioned that Miss Clark had sent him a picture of a baby, pretending it was their son. What? That's just plain messed up. Looks like Miss Clark was trying to get Mr. Newbie to show some interest in the baby, even if it wasn't really his. Not cool. Not cool at all.
The day after my son was born, I said, you can come up here and see the baby, but do not have her drop you off or come to the hospital. He said, oh no, I'm getting a ride.
And what does it matter if I drop him off? I was the only one willing to give him a ride to see his own kid. I have kids. I know what it's like to be a single mom, and I would not be with Jesse if he would not care of his responsibilities. If you really wanted a father...
And then there's Miss Faulkner, Mr. Newbie's new girlfriend. She seemed to be stirring up all kinds of drama between the exes. When Mr. Newbie was showing off the sonogram picture at work, Miss Faulkner apparently told him to put it down, saying he didn't even know if the baby was his.
Mr. Newbie has reason to believe that he could possibly be the father.
He has been there.
Why would you have any issue with him being there until he...
Her son has been at our house.
Out otherwise.
We have watched her son.
Yeah,
we have babysat for her.
So that goes back when he was holding up the sonogram picture. Why'd you tell him to take it down?
I didn't tell him to take it down. I said, why are you showing a picture of a baby you don't even know if it's yours?
But the real kicker was when Mr. Newbie said he'd fight for custody if the baby turned out to be his, because he thought Miss Clark was an unfit mother. Whoa, those are fighting words. He brought up how Miss Clark had used drugs while pregnant, putting the baby at risk.
Now, Ms. Clark, how have you tried to get him in your child's life?
I would call him and ask him if he can watch him or whatever. If he wants to see him, he said, I can't right now, I'm busy.
That is not
I want to take care of the baby. I tried taking care of the baby. You would not let me.
How many diapers have you bought? You only bought 2 packs of diapers. You haven't even bought anything.
We bought stuff for the baby. She refused. She said, because Joanne got it, I don't want it.
She didn't want none of it.
Because I bought it.
The judge seemed to be on Miss Clark's side, though. She pointed out that Mr. Newbie and his girlfriend didn't exactly have their lives together either, with both of them looking for work. The judge said she didn't see any evidence that Miss Clark was an unfit mother, and that Mr. Newbie needed to step up and be a dad if the baby was his. So, is the baby his?
Mr. Newbie, you are the father.
It's not a bad thing. Like, I never tried to deny him. I just wanted some clarity.
You did deny him.
I will defend him in this. He did not tell this court he denied him. He told this court he had doubt. That would indicate that Miss Clark is an unfit mother. But I am a firm believer that fathers have a huge role to play in their child's lives. Are we clear?
Yes.
Court is adjourned.
Thank you.